Welcome back to another episode of The Final Cut. On today's show, we're going to be talking colour. We've got Rachel and Zoe from the brand new colour system, You've. This will revolutionise the way that you deposit colour and use colour in your salons. Here we go, straight over to the cast. Morning.
Morning.
Welcome to The Final Cut, to our set here in London. I'm sure you know this man to my
Me too.
right.
Good morning.
Mr.
Lovely
Barry
to see you.
Stevens, the CEO of the Fellowship. Guys, it's going to be really interesting today, and we're going to show some clips of the machine. I'm not going to say the name yet because I want to build it up to a big anticipation. But
Build that suspense.
we've got Rachel Lee and Zoe Elenovich.
Eleknovich. So close, so close.
Tried. Listen, I've been in this green room for about an hour this morning. That's the northern tongue that can't get around it. So we're going to stick with Zoe and Rachel.
Perfect. Sure.
Just for our viewers that's going to tune in and watch, and before we start to talk about the product, which is amazing, by the way. It's blown me away this morning. I loved it. Just give us a 2-minute bio on each one of you, just a little bit of background, who you are, and a little bit about your career. Rachel, do you want to start?
Sure. So my name is Rachel Lee, and I'm the marketing manager at. Are we saying the name of the brand?
Yeah,
sure. I'm the marketing manager of You've. So my background has predominantly been in hair colour. So I've worked for some of the big brands, more on the branding side of things, looking at all things colour throughout my career. I then actually left hairdressing about a year ago, that industry, and went into aesthetics. Didn't love it. So now I'm back in pro hair and really loving it. So I've joined You've, and we have been really building that brand from the get-go. It's so refreshing and so exciting, this brand. It's really forward-thinking, and I'm just really excited to get to work on so much that we're going to be doing with the brand.
And throughout this interview, we're going to talk a little bit about the product, but then we're going to see a little bit of a demo and how it works a bit later as well. Zoe?
Yeah, I'm Zoe Eleknovich. I've been in the hair industry, since I was 16. I've worked in salons, I've worked in the film industry. In about 2015, I went into colour education, so designing global campaigns and education seminars for international clients. Then a year ago, I got asked to join You've, which was like nothing I've ever done before. I do a lot of the colour analysis, the formulating. Moving forward, it'll be the education. I've just had my year anniversary, and it's been one of the most rewarding years of my life, I have to say. Like, I love working with the brand. It's such an amazing concept.
So for everybody who doesn't know this product, we're going to talk a little bit about it. And I know you've been on a few other interviews and stuff, but there's a big build-up here now to September. I'm going to ask a simple question, Barry, for everybody that's out there as well. Is like, what's all the noise? Tell us, what is it? We're going to see it in a bit, but tell everybody what this is.
So You've is the world's first smart hair colour lab. It basically takes your raw ingredients and your pigments, and it can custom create any hair colour that you could truly imagine. So it unlocks creativity to so many levels that we've never seen before in the industry. But from a business and a system standpoint, it really will help salons and freelancers. It basically restocks you automatically. It carves your cost of colour.
And I love this idea because sometimes, even when I worked in a salon years ago, I used to go in and on Monday morning, can you do stock? And I'm like, oh no, I can't do it. I can't. I think it was Goal at that time. They had the can system, which reminded me a little bit when I saw yours. But it was like you'd end up with like 10 of one colour and not the colours that you needed. Yeah. And it used to drive me mad. So this is like...
Yeah, so this auto restocks you, but it's based on your own usage. So if you're a salon that's going through red, like no tomorrow, and that's predominantly the colour that you're using, that's kind of where your stock and inventory will come. But it'll always be based on your usage, and you will never run out of stock. So it's up to our team and our system that automatically ships you out colour. And you don't pay for that stock up front. So you only pay for it when you dispense it. So if you dispense 30 grams of colour, you're only going to pay for 30 grams of colour, no matter what that formula is.
So on a level of disruption, where are we on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, we're not on a level anymore. we've blown it out of the water. It's
We've gone through 10.
Yes,
Yep,
this is
definitely.
probably, I would say, the most disruptive thing the industry has seen to date.
So from a delivery system point of view, can anybody use it?
Anybody can use it. It's really for anyone that does colour. So you've got salons, you've got freelancers, you've got people in the hair and beauty world in general, you've got TV, you've got barbers, you've got literally anyone. It's been designed for everyone that wants to touch colour.
Now,
Only
Simon,
professionals.
from your background, barbering, what's the situation with colour there?
Well, first of all, my background's not barbering, so let's do research on people. Let's get this right. So, I think from in the sector that we're dealing in particularly is that looking at that system, some of the barbershops, I think the barbering in the last 10 years has just grown massively. I'm sure everybody else does. But some of the refurbs, some of the decor that's done in salons, barbershops, is overtook some of the hairdressing salons. That just sits in there perfect. It sits in like a
It's nice
beautiful
and sleek.
high-end.
Yeah, fits right in.
What's the advertisement that George Clooney does with a coffee machine? Espresso. And there is
Yeah.
other coffee brands out there, so we're not endorsed by an espresso. But it looks like an espresso high-end machine. And I just love the slickness of it. But I can imagine barbershops as well. And are you targeting? You know, what's the? So you're launching September-ish.
Yeah.
Ish. But what's the plan though in terms of like how are you gonna get it out? Is it mass production? Is it going to be limited numbers? Is people going to be like? I'm sure from your point of view, you want people having a waiting list. I love when that happens, and I've been fortunate to be part of some of that when we've launched products. What's the plan?
That's a you question.
So we are currently building our waiting list, and there's been this kind of period since we revealed ourselves. We lifted our embargo a few months ago now, so people know that we exist, but we're still building that brand awareness. So the wait list is out there. We are currently building the first 200 units, and it will be an exclusive launch to begin with, but we're at a very... we can flip very easy and make a lot more if we needed to, but we want to have a controlled approach to the situation. We want to make sure that everyone that gets machine loves it and that we can support them internally, and we're not just unleashing a million of these out into the world and saying, sorry, off you go, have fun on your own.
Yeah.
So we're making sure that it's controlled. The first 200 are in production right now, and there will be 200 people with the machine.
Can you just watch out as well, because what he'll try and do before you leave is to try some kind of contract that those first 200 go to Fellowship members, and you've got to make
He
sure
already
that this
slipped
is-
me the contract when I walked through the door.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
We've done that
He's very slippy.
I saw this at Colour World at the soft launch and introduction, and it blew my mind. I'm from a software background, so I was just thinking, one, why hasn't this happened before? And two, from a delivery system point of view, that could go worldwide, and also UK manufactured,
Yep.
Yeah.
which I think is fantastic, and that's both the colour and the actual hardware.
Yep, everything's made in the UK. So sustainability is one of our core pillars. So we really wanted to make sure that we had a small supply chain. As well as it being like such a revolutionary technology, we're actually introducing the world's first refillable hair color. So in terms of waste, we have zero. All of our cartridges of color are refillable.
That's unheard of.
Yeah. That is really good. I mean, I'm just blown away when I see the machine. Obviously, I've done a little bit of research on you guys before you got here as well. It's funny because we're here at SE1 Studios in London, which, guys, if you're hairdressing, barbering, have a look online and have a look at these studios if you're going to hire it for photograph sessions and everything. It's just got a fantastic vibe about it. It's superb. But I was talking to Angelo upstairs, and we were talking about this together, and he was saying, why is it not being fetched out in the last 10 years?
I know.
It's something that this industry, we always say, it's what the industry's been waiting, which sometimes can be a little bit of a bit of a cliche. But I think it is something that can change things. I have a worry and a concern.
Oh, yeah?
I look at it, and we're here in London, but as a northerner, and you are, Zoe,
I am.
Barry obviously was an extra on Brookside. Sometimes I think when I see products and years gone by as a salon, director of a salon group, we were fortunate because we were a big group, so we got the best stuff. But I used to talk to other salons in areas sometimes, and it's like, you get it because you do all the shows. That's one of the things that you get in the north. It's like, you're in the know down there, it's down there.
That's the industry we live in. It's selective, it's biased.
Yeah, is it going to be available and affordable? What kind of, how's this work? Because I'm trying to get my head around that there's only so many cans in there.
Yeah.
And you know what salons are like, and staff that's been there for a long time. They've got their own little mixture for Mrs. Smith or Paulie Yates or something like that. It's like kind of like that little mix, but this is going to be different. This is going to change it. How's it work in terms of cost and?
So the machine's only £49 a month, and that signs you up to the entire UV system. So you get the lab, you get an iPad with that, and you get a thermal printer with your £49 a month. It also means that you get the UV system. So you get all of your colour restocked, you get access to millions and millions of shades. All of your software is in your one app. That means all of your client history saved. You get everything for £49 a month.
Zoe, question for you.
Sure.
From an hairdressing point of view, forget your UV. Go back into a busy salon on a Friday and Saturday. You look as the head colourist in there, and you probably have 2 other technicians that work with you. You're looking at balayage appointments. You're looking at foil appointments. You've got all of this in. How does this change your working day?
Yeah, you're bringing trauma back to me now. Like busy Saturdays in the salon.
We like trauma TV.
You've got enough trauma right now.
Yeah, I mean, revolutionary. I remember, because I was in a West London salon, and on a Saturday, well, on a Thursday, I'd have tied tubes of colour because we were running low, or we would have to run out to wholesalers to make sure that we had it. That's a thing of the past with this system. You know, you can dispense any colour from this system. So any shade you can think of, it can dispense. So you're never going to have that pit in your stomach like, oh God, we haven't got that shade, or she came in for a balayage and now she wants to go dark and we don't have anything to colour correct. It's all there in that one machine. So you've got that safety net. And I think for stylists to be able to really take ownership of what colour they're using tertiary tones, using half shades, also changing ammonia percentages, it gives them so much more freedom. So I think stylists would love it. I would have loved it when I was in the salon. I would have had a great time with this.
Is this opening colour up wider as regards to what people want specifically now?
Yeah,
so
it is.
You're going to get unique colours that have never existed before?
Yeah.
When we launch, there will be shades that people test that we've never even seen. People will be able to create shades that have never been seen before. So people will create their own colour lines.
Well, that leads me into the next kind of questioning. So let's just say we've got salons that are based up in Leeds city centre and based here in central London, and you've got a barber shop that's in Manchester. Well, they're watching this podcast now.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. How's it doing? Got a great job, haven't we? Stood here with 2 birds on a Tuesday morning.
I don't think you can say that.
Would you, I just did. Would you have a glass of wine? What time is it? Sorry, stop looking at his watch as well. We've got security outside, actually. Guard him in the morning, making sure that it's a true story, that actually. What's the training process though? So like I'm watching this from Manchester and I'm thinking, do you know what? I want to start. I've done a bit of bleaching. You know, let's say we've got a World Cup coming up, and Phil Foden has the hair bleached, and then you get masses. And I think in barbering, in particular, and men's hairdressing, it is a lot of lighter colours, as you'll know. Zoe. What's the training? So you go in technically, you show them how to work it. Do you technically show them then how to do your colours as well?
We will have on-demand education. So you will have access to any videos that we do or our ambassadors do. A big part of my role is building a guidance system to help people reach their hair goal. So if you aren't quite sure what oxidant to use, mixing ratio, we will be able to guide you with that. So we really want to support you without having to leave the salon as well. But there will also be in-person classes because everybody loves those as well.
Yeah, they do like, I mean, I think, and anything like this, it's very hands-on, as you know, in the industry. And I think they might just actually want to take a machine home, to be quite honest.
Definitely.
To take pride of place in the lounge, the way it looks, or in the kitchen, possibly.
You know, we've got obviously our media partners with us, SalonEVO and BarberEVO, and coming up on some episodes as well. You're going to see David on some of these interviews as well. But I think looking at their point of view as well is coming in is that, are you going to go down the road that everybody else has been suckered into, where you're going to have ambassadors?
We have a couple of ambassadors already, but the way that we see ambassadors is not the same way that other brands see them. We are really... So currently how I see it is a lot of ambassadors get paid a fee to speak on behalf of a brand. They get given a script almost and are told what to say. Our ambassadors are their own brand. We are just a colour that's powering them. We're facilitating their brand.
Good.
So we want them to create their own brands, and we're not going to give them a guideline. We're going to say, you believe in us, we believe in you. It's up to you to create your magic, and we will help you in the background. But other than that, as in terms of an ambassador, we kind of hope that anyone that uses the brand somewhat becomes an ambassador for it. We really believe that people buy from people. They don't buy from a sales rep and such. They buy from people that
It's on
understand.
recommendation.
Yeah. And something like this has so much potential to revolutionize an industry where people will want to share the custom creations that they've made. We're giving people a facility that means you can create your own color line. You can create your own palette, whether it's a spring summer 2023 palette that is straight off the runway, or whether it's something that's dedicated to a football team that they support. You can create a palette that can be shared with other people, so everyone has the potential to create a color line that can be shared and people can access and download straight away.
I'm sure you're aware, there's been a huge shift in the industry over the last couple of years with regards to freelance.
Of course.
We're talking about a stationary machine at the moment. Is a portable version on the horizon?
It is on the horizon, yes.
And do you see that as, again, something, the boot of a car, or how's this going to operate?
So our current machine is for salons, freelancers, it's for everyone. The machine is really light. I can lift it and I'm not the strongest person in the world, as you can probably see from my arms. But it is super light, so it can be transported. But what we've also done, because we really want to help the freelancers, with our education, as Zoe was saying, it's going to be accessible. So by accessible, we mean free. All of our education will be free and everyone can access it. And with the machine, it operates for everyone. So even if you are a freelancer, the price point is super low, but you still get the same access to the system and it is transportable. Same support for everyone, built in.
So there's no discrimination with regards
you don't need to be a top salon to have our support. Everyone gets it. And then, as your other question, we are building a much smaller unit, which is your portable unit that will be really for your mobile hairdressers that want to move it around. The current one can be moved around. We brought it here today. Very easy. 2 girls whacking it in a cab.
Yeah. Plug and play.
Plug and play. You literally unbox it, plug it in, off you go.
And any plans,
no one needs to install it.
which is fantastic. And with regards to all of the fantastic colour mixes that you can get out of it, are there any plans to exploit that?
What do you mean exploit?
The fact that these colours have never been seen before?
Well, we hope that the people that use you create colours that no one's seen before, and that we hope that they're the ones that get the clout of that. It's not up to us. If you're creating a colour, that's your colour, and you can put your own name on it, and you can name it whatever you want.
I was alluding more to a competition, sort of.
Oh, a competition.
Some form of award.
It's not in the plan currently. It's not to say never, but our current approach is we're new. We need to build our brand awareness. We need to get the product in people's hands. As that grows, it's limitless.
Because
yeah,
this
who
will
knows?
affect creativity, won't it?
Well, it unlocks creativity too.
Yeah.
It's leading you into then saying, yeah, we might have an award. And then well, we've got our luncheon coming up in December the 5th in the Londoner in London. We've still got tickets available on the fellowship.co.uk.
Most abstract colour produced from a used machine goes to.
Yeah.
So, though, from your point of view, from a technical point of view, you've worked with other brands.
I have,
you've worked in salons, so you'll have worked with a lot of the top different brands that you've worked with. What makes this, forget the system, how cool that is. What are the colours? What's the the USPs that you can say, the reds, the blondes, the grey coverage? What is it that really stands out on you?
Oh, I could talk about this all day. Like literally, this is my world right now. Do you know what the biggest thing is? The alkalizer used within the product when it's at a demi. So your carousel starts off at a demi, and then you add your ammonia your pH booster, to put your ammonia in. But the alkalizer in the demi is arginine. So it is a true demi in every sense of the word. It lasts around 28 to 35 washes, depending how they take care of their hair. We all know that. It also can't lift. There is no way it can lift. I've tested this so hard with every oxidant for the longest periods of time. There was no shift. So you're so safe with this demi. And then, just by using red, blue, and yellow, I mean, I've created some crazy shades, like we've also got an oxidative pink, so that's, I think there's not many brands with one. So if you actually look on our website, you'll see one of our models has a pink on his hair. Everyone's going to think that's a semi. It's a demi. So it's going to last that little bit longer, And I think having those really creative fashion-led shades in a demi-permanent with the longevity, so you don't get the, different fade-outs is game-changing for a salon, because that's going to create loyalty and return business for you as well.
And financially, I'm looking at it thinking with a refillable cartridge, this is going to change the dispensary, the way the dispensary looks.
It's going to look so
Exactly.
tidy.
Or
I don't want people.
is there going to be a
replace it.
dispensary?
Yeah,
No.
it technically replaces it. You have everything in one machine to do your full colour service.
Yeah,
So you're not
Including
gaining
developer,
space back?
including cream bleach.
you are. Yeah, you're
So
getting
if-
space.
Yeah, if you're someone that has a big stock cupboard, turn it into another chair, turn it into a beauty parlour. You don't need it anymore. You've got one machine that has everything that
And it's
replaces
small,
that room.
It's quite compact. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want people start watching this thinking it's a paid advertisement. It's not. We want to fetch everybody on the final cut. We want to fetch the latest product innovation, the different stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that's to do with this industry that's important. I think this is important because it's the first
It's
of
a
its
game
kind. That's
changer.
why we are talking about it. So don't be, sending messages in that, well, that paid advertisement. This is not. We've asked you guys to come in because we see that this is different. And I know you've done some audio stuff in the past, but this is your first view and it's going to be the first. We'll put all the links for Rachel, Zoe and you via people get in touch with them as well. We'll put that popping up on your screens afterwards. So if you are one of the lucky 200, then you might get a chance. What a position to be in, though, that we're only taking 200 on to start with.
Yeah, it
It's,
sounds a bit like Apple to me.
what's happening with when we're going to see you out on the circuit then? When we're going to see you at air shows, what's the plans that way?
So we have already done Colour World, which was kind of like our soft launch. It was the first time people saw it in action, but that was
What was the response?
It's crazy.
crazy positive.
So crazy.
Everyone, I think it's one of those things, you understand the concept and you see it and you're like, it's so simple. Why did I not think of this? Why does this not already exist? And I think that's when people shift and they think, it's actually not that scary. A lot of technology that comes into our industry scares people, and a lot of it doesn't have that much.
It's very intuitive.
Yeah.
Very intuitive, yes. But a lot of the technology that comes out isn't necessarily solution based. It's almost creating a problem that the new technology is there to fix because it's trying to sell. Whereas this entire concept was done to try and fix problems that already exist. It's completely solution based.
Is there anything around globally that's similar?
There is a competitor in the US that has a similar concept, but it's not refillable cans. It will only dispense shades that they already have. And then I think you can tweak them slightly. It's not speaking the language that you understand, so it only speaks their brand's language. I don't want to say the name. But it's huge. It's so big. It's heavy. It's maybe
It's
a little
like
bit
vending
complicated.
machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs a full installation. You need to have a big space in a salon to have it.
Yeah.
I think the real difference of this is it is
It's very
so
agile.
small.
Yeah.
The design of it has been thought out carefully the whole way through that it can fit in any salon. It is the footprint of this magazine. That means if you can put the magazine down, that's where,
It will go.
yeah.
I have a thing with these magazines at the minute that when I walk into barbershops, try and find which magazines I'm in and then try and put them to the top. Which is
Do you really do that?
Oh, I swear, yeah, I'm being honest.
It's free
Like,
publicity.
open up the middle pages where my columns are and just leave them out open.
Yeah,
So-
well, coming from Liverpool, I just normally take the magazines home with me. But,
I
you know, that's a
try and do
different
that
story.
anyway. I normally, when I'm coming into Barnsley, the guys from Evo send me a pile of them and I just throw them out my sunroof window.
Like
There
an
you
old
go,
school
enjoy
paper
yourself.
boy.
Read all about it. Guys, I think, from an industry point of view, looking at it, there's going to be a lot. You've created some excitement here because it's different. And I love that it is different. It's not like new shades or a new colour system within a system. This is a brand new way of doing stuff. When the launch is happening and the salons are selected, what happens then for the growth? Are you doing like, let's just see how these 200 go, all the faults, before you go into mass production?
So it's a slow growth. It's one of those things where we're not expecting people to just switch their colour line overnight. It's a new colour. We haven't white labelled a colour. It's our brand new own formula designed in-house to be customisable. So people want to get to grips with that. People love the product, but everyone knows, same with the coffee machine. If you don't like the coffee that comes out of it,
No,
it
it's a
doesn't
good
matter if
point.
you don't like it. Doesn't matter if the machine's beautiful. So we are
Way of putting
doing
it.
this kind of slow approach where we make sure people understand it, they're supported. But that's not to say that the 200 that are in production today aren't the only machines that are going to get made. It will go into a big production hall when the demand's there, I guess, when we get more salons that say, we want this, we need this. And when we can basically go into them and onboard them. And we build our team internally, and it will just naturally grow. But by no means will we jeopardize our sustainability approach to grow. That's one of the key things when you think about a global expansion, because we're refillable. It's not just a case of putting tubes and shipping them over. We are needing a refill system. So everywhere we launch, we'd have to create almost like a setup over there for a refillable station in order to service that nation or that area.
Yeah, you'd have
so
to have a hub. Yes,
basically,
so
that in itself creates a slower, logistically a slower launch. But by no means is it slow in the sense that it's going to take 10 years to get somewhere else. We're talking about next year already being in another location. So it's fast in the grand scheme of things, but it's tailored to make sure that we're sustainable. Our supply chain right now is all based in the UK. It's very small, so we are as sustainable as we possibly can be. But when you talk about expansion, we just have to keep that in our thought process.
So I think traditional routes to market with a sales force on the ground, and we're talking about something that's looking to completely disrupt the current way. What's the plans with getting it out there, getting it in front of people sort of regionally so they can, because we know people like to get hold of these things and actually try it themselves.
Of course.
Online education is fabulous, but I just don't think there is anything to get the face-to-face for me.
Of course, we know it's a really tangible industry. People want to touch it, they want to play with it. So we will be doing our road shows, we will be going to trade shows, we will be present in loads of things. We're at HairCon next year, where we'll have a big push up north, where we'll all be on hand, and that will be a massive, massive event for us. But we will have a sales team to begin with. They will be going into salons, but it will be bespoke one-to-one sessions to truly educate.
Educational
based,
consultative rather than actually a cosh over the head.
Yeah.
Is why don't you try this? Because you're actually offering a delivery system on top of the colour.
I don't like saying the word like a sales team, because we're not trying to sell you colour. The whole idea of the Uve is to reduce your colour intake. It's not the case of us coming in and saying, buy this tube, buy this tube. We've got a 30+1 deal this month, so you must buy all of these tubes that you actually don't need. The whole purpose of it is you pay for what you need. You actually end up hopefully saving 30 to 35% of the colour bill that you've currently got, because you should be reducing the amount of colour that you need, because you're only buying
different.
Yeah.
And from a sustainability point of view, that's obviously a huge foundation of the company.
Massive.
Yeah.
Reducing waste in an industry full of waste, and not even just on the colour side, on the packaging side.
Yeah.
This industry, compared to every other industry where we're cutting down on single-use plastics, it's frowned upon everywhere, but our industry seems to get away with everything. It's like, if it could be single-use, we'll take it. So you is literally all about changing that. It's about making everything sustainable, cutting down on waste financially and in terms of tangible product.
Okay. The name, where did the name come from?
So Uve is a digital color scale. So it's actually what turned black and white TVs into color TVs. So YUV is it's kind of like RGB, but it also stands for Your Unlimited Vision. So as an acronym, we wanted people to know that Uve unlocks creativity. I think there's a misconception with technology that it limits people and it restricts. And I think some hairdressers might look at the machine and think, wow, it's taking my job. But it's not. It's unlocking so much more on a creative aspect for you. It's just taking away the manual labor. When you compare how easy it is as well to just like manually squeezing tubes. We've done a comparison video where I'm standing there squeezing out tubes and I'm just touching a button and I'm just standing there. It's comical. You look at it and I think it's one of those kind of pioneering moments in the industry where in 10 years we will look back and think, why did we do that?
So when we look at the salon of the future, we don't envisage people with tubes with a little sardine can opener trying to squeeze the last bit of colour out of it.
I hope not, because it's truly unsustainable. And if you look at every other industry, the technology exists. Look at, if we put an espresso label on this, as you said, would anyone bat an eyelid? If coffee was coming out? No. If paint was coming out in B&Q, would anyone bat an eyelid?
No. How long's that been happening?
Exactly. You take a Pantone shade, they'll match it on the spot. That's the colour you get, and we trust it. But in our industry, technology's been hidden from us because the brands that exist today need us to keep the technology away because that's their profit margin. The 30% of colour you waste is their 30% profit margin.
Wow. Well, that's also groundbreaking. You think it's been hidden?
I think
suppressed.
it's something that hasn't been invested in because it would destroy current business models.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject.
It's a whole other
Yeah.
subject.
I think it's now just about getting it out there, isn't it, for you guys, and letting people see it and actually seeing the difference, what it can make. I'd love to be there at some of the in-salon demonstrations when the penny drops with everybody when they see it for the first time.
We've done a couple already where people have played with the colour. I mean, even just yesterday we were with someone playing with the colour, and her results were phenomenal. She loved it. She loved the results. She loved the easeability of it all, and she created a colour she'd never used before.
I think for the smart people out there, before they changed over to your colour, that would be, forget all the beautiful machine and the sustainability. What's the colours like? Well, what's my grey coverage like? What's my fashion tones like? How's that going to work in our business now? What's going to change over in terms of going from that colour to this colour? But also then, once you add the machine in and all the other bits in, then it's good. Good, excellent. Well, guys, thank you for coming in and telling us about your exciting project from a marketing point of view and a technical point of view. All the links and all the demonstration you're going to be seeing as well throughout this podcast, and the links will be up for both your social medias and how to get in touch with you as well. Anything else to add, girls, before you leave?
No, we're just super excited for the future, for the industry to embrace and to get on the road and get people seeing youth. It's exciting.
If you've got any questions, obviously you can just contact us on Youth Social, on Rachel or mine, and we're happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Most of them we were sat there watching this thinking, well, Simon's just asked all them questions. I don't know what Barry's doing. I don't know what Barry's doing.
He's here looking pretty.
Thank you very much for that. I'm here for ballast.
Where did you get your wine from this morning when you drunk loads before you came in?
Barry slipped it to me. I'm not
Did it? Oh, he does. He's very slippy.
It's for the same time he slipped that contract. It's how I signed it.
Thanks a lot to you guys, to Rachel and Zoe from Youth, and we'll be back soon with some more Final Cup.